Yes, we are back live. Hello, everyone. How are you? I told you to be back a little bit more. It's recorded content, but also live. I'm really excited about today's talk. I wanted to be real with you guys and just, bring you in on a little bit more of a personal note. It's really easy to have this front on social media that I succeed all the time and that there's so much success and joy, and there is that, but there's also a lot of failure. There's a lot of moments that did not go as planned. Really big moments, really small moments, and everything in between. And I think there's so much that we can learn from failure. Failure is really a teacher. And so I wanted to make this or come live today to talk with you guys about your perspective on failure and how you can switch it, because the other side of switching your perspective with failure is you aren't afraid to go forward on your dreams and your goals, because there's actually a lot of benefit. I'm going to give you five amazing ways of thinking about failure as a friend, failure as a teacher, so you can start to see the sunny side of failing. And really it's painful when you go through failure for sure, but there's a lot of benefit to going through it. So if you're hesitating on going for it, going for that job, starting that project, speaking up about something, ending a friendship, ending a marriage, moving away because you're afraid that you're going to mess it up on some level, I totally hear you. It's natural. Okay? It's natural to have that fear. And you know what? You might fail, but you're going to fail in your way. And your failure is a part of your life's destiny and journey. You need to fail, in other words, to launch into what you are supposed to become and who you're supposed to be. So, all right, let me find my notes here. All right, perfect. So, if you guys are watching this replay, first of all, shout out to you guys. I love you so much. Hashtag replay family. Do that hashtag. I always look at your chats and your comments. And I'm so like I geek out at going back and looking at your comments. So say hi in the chat. Say hi in the comments. Let me know where you're tuning in from. And drop in the comment section your big takeaways from this. So if you're feeling like there's a big aha moment, a big breakthrough, put it in the chat, because your realization is sometimes a mirror for someone else who might join and watch the replay. They see your comment and they're like, huh, I never thought about it like that. Like, that's pretty damn cool. And that's where their breakthrough comes through because you were brave enough to say something. So put it in the comment section. So I have had a lot of experience with failure. I am, generally speaking, a risk taker. And I'm a very adventurous soul. I'm a Manny Gen, if you know human design, manifesting generator with a 4-6 profile. So I am consistently dreaming, thinking about the big picture. And then as soon as I get that sacral hit, and it's like, ooh, that'd be so cool, there's no stopping me. And what I've had to learn recently is to stay in what I call the season of development a little bit more. And that's that period of time right after you get the idea of what you want to do. Hang out for just a second, think about it, strategize, and build yourself into the person who can succeed. That's what increases your chances of being successful. It's not just about getting the idea and running with it, because that can sometimes lead to failure. So what I'm saying is you can mitigate your failure a little bit if you just hang out for a second in the idea that you just got and let it show you and reveal to you what you need to do and what you need to obtain in terms of skills, in terms of knowledge, in terms of resources to go and become someone who will crush it, okay? So but either way, there's still no guarantee that after being in the season of development, letting it shape you, that you'll avoid failure. Failure is just sometimes a part of the game. But failure is a really great thing. Failure is a teacher. It points you in the directions you need to go. So I've had failed businesses before. I failed at school. I've been fired from jobs. I've had failed friendships, both on a professional or relationships, I should say, on a personal level, and also a professional level. I've failed in marriage. I've been divorced before. I've failed to show up for people. I've let people down in the past. Um, I've failed to do the last rep at the gym. I've failed to win. I've failed with money. I've been so close to broke. In fact, there was a little bit ago where my account was consistently in the negative. I've done a lot of things to fail. And what I've learned are these 5 big takeaways that consistently show me and have taught my nervous system really that failure is a friend. Failure is a teacher. Even though in the moment it seems like absolute hell to go through it, it is still really worth it to take risks, to put your neck out there, to go for it. Because as you're going to see in just a moment when we go through these 5 points, that you're never really failing. You just didn't get the outcome you expected. That's different than failing. There's so many quotes out there, right? But failure isn't getting knocked down, it's refusing to get back up. Right? That's like what I'm saying here is you're supposed to get knocked down in life. If you're living a big, beautiful, exciting life, you're absolutely going to get knocked down. You're absolutely going to have success and you're absolutely going to have failure. I think that the failure that sucks, the failure that really hurts us is when we just don't get back up again. When we don't take note of these 5 tips, these 5 ways that failure is a teacher that I'm about to tell you. If you don't consider these 5 steps, you're going to consider your failure as the end of the road. It's this huge mistake that you're never going to recover from. And most things in life other than like really doing some crazy illegal shit, you can recover from things. So nothing's really a failure. It's all very positive actually, believe it or not. So let's get into it. The number one thing I've learned from failure is this: you will survive it. There is a resiliency that you learn about yourself that you would not have learned otherwise unless you failed. You have to fail sometimes to learn what you have inside of you. The ability to pick yourself back up, brush yourself off and get going again. The ability to mourn like I did with the loss of my marriage. That was a huge low point for me, but I went there. And now I know I had this memory and this embodied experience that I've been through that before. I've been to the lowest of lows. And so this, whatever this is, that probably won't kill me. And so there is a real, I was going to say joy, I guess. I guess there is. In knowing that you're tough. But you only get there, you only know how tough you really are. You only build that resiliency by surviving going through the really difficult moments of your life. So don't shy away from the really scary, dark, shadowy moments. Don't fear that. Go through it, have faith, keep going because on the other side of that is you surviving and you being so fucking resilient. Point 2 of what I learned about failure. When you fail, it's probably because an expectation didn't happen, right? So a result didn't happen the way you thought it would. And that usually happens because you didn't have the right resources, you didn't have the right skills yet. There's something you didn't acquire or you weren't a right fit. But either way, you learn something and you'll learn how to do it better next time. You learn how to do it better next time. This is where if you fail on the first attempt, you try again. Fail a little less, try again. Fail a little less, try again, and finally you get it. That's called learning, folks. Right? We don't consider learning failures until you get it 100% right. We consider learning a natural progression of going from you don't know it all to You know it. If you were to sit down in history class and take a test on the Civil War and you didn't know anything about history of the Civil War yet, you'd fail. But we don't do that right away, right? We give you curriculum, you learn a little bit, then you take a test. And it is the same thing with life, believe it or not. You don't have all the skills yet. You don't have all the wisdom just yet. And so failing doesn't really happen in the same way, but you really do mess it up or you make someone angry or you get fired or whatever. You're going to learn right there in the moment, okay, if I don't want this to happen again, I need to change up my behaviors, my skill. I need to learn a new skill so that this does not happen again. And the person who can take the lesson from a failure and apply it to a future moment in their life is only going to be more successful. Point number 3 about what I learned that failure has taught me is failure is a mirror. Mm, yes, yes. Failure is a mirror for sure. You want to learn about yourself? Fail. Be on your hands and knees, crying, pulling your hair out with worry, fucking it all up. You're going to see who you are. And, sometimes you can't help it. You just got to go through the failure the way you go through it. And it's going to be ugly and it's going to be messy. But as you continue in life and you be brave and you take risks and you put yourself out there and you keep trying, your ability to fail gets graceful in a sense and you fail well. You fail well. And you still learn about yourself along the way. But then there's a part of you, I think it maybe comes with age too, but you can kind of laugh at yourself. Because you're like, okay, when I was a teenager and I failed, it felt like the world was coming down all around me, right? A breakup was the end of the world. I didn't know what to do with myself. Now, if a friendship ends, I'm like, okay, that's sad, but ultimately it's for the better. She's moved on, I've moved on, and that's the nature of life is change. So you can see how having the experience going through a friendship ending already, plus the experience of age, makes me fail with grace. And still, you learn about yourself, but you don't internalize it so much. But failure is a mirror for sure. And so the question becomes, who are you as you're failing? Who are you as it's all falling apart? Who are you in the moments where it is so unclear what the next step is going to be? Because those moments are so many. There's so many of those moments when you are launching into a new project, you're a new entrepreneur, and you're out here like I am, like putting myself on every platform and never stopping, just grinding hard all the time and fueling it with my passion. But this is a moment where, there's no one on the live right now. This could be seen as a failure. I taught a master class last night. One person came on and her Wi-Fi was spotty or whatever, so she was in and out. But that's it. I had a low enrollment too, and I say that without any pride because I want to role model for you that sometimes it's like that. Sometimes you launch something and it's a week to no hit, crickets. Other times you'll launch something and there'll be 20 to 30 people. And I've experienced both. Last night, there was a moment after the master class where I was like, damn, I just talked to myself for 2 hours straight. But I held the vision and the energy in my body as if there were 200 people in that Zoom room. And my voice, my internal dialogue of "you're failing, there's no one in the room" was absolutely there. I'm not gonna lie. I wanna be real with you guys. I had a really tough moment at one point in the masterclass where I was just like, "There's no one in this Zoom room, and you're an hour and a half in, you still got 30 more minutes, you're exhausted. Your voice is getting harsh." Or hoarse rather. My voice was getting hoarse, harsh, whatever, harsh horse. And like, I just wanted to stop. So what I'm saying is, who are you in those moments? I had to coach myself through it. And I have already asked myself that question a million times. Who are you, Kim? In the moments where no one's showing up. And I have to decide. but it's innate. I just do it. I don't waver anymore. I just like, "Oh, we're not in failure mode. No, this isn't a failure." Because when you show up and no one's there, no one's looking, you're learning about yourself. Failure is a mirror. Every moment is a mirror. But you're really going to learn about who you are when there's zero people around and you expected everyone to be there. You're really going to learn about yourself when you're so excited about this thing and no one's excited about the thing. You're really going to learn about yourself where you had the coolest idea reel that you make and you put it out there and two people like it and one of them is your mom, which is what happens to me a lot right now. And it's just like, okay, like I thought that would hit differently. I thought I'd be famous after that one reel, but I guess not. So what? Because who are you in that moment? You have to get clear on that so that you don't take it as a failure, so that you actually just see it as information, but you don't even really care because you're so solid. You know that you can keep going. You build that resiliency because you never stop. You'll learn how to do better the next time. That's what failure teaches you. You learn about yourself. Failure is a mirror. Who are you? You get to choose. You get to choose. And if you choose to be someone who continues to have resiliency and faith and positivity and hope and let your passion lead the way, the moment like I had last night will never feel like a true failure. It's actually not a true failure because I showed up anyway. Right? So we have to look at the mind and how it plays these monkey mind games on us too to trick us. And that was a failure when really it wasn't. Okay. So you are going to learn about yourself so much in the face of the mirror of failure. Number 4, that I learned from failure, what it's taught me. You're going to know who your real friends are. When shit goes down, you're going to know who your friends are. I've had many failed experiences, like I mentioned earlier on this live. And every time I had one of those big moments of like, holy shit, I can't believe this happened, whether there was a divorce or whether I was losing my job or whether I was changing careers or whether my dad had his stroke or my ex husband had his traumatic brain injury, like all of these crazy moments of high stress that felt like the world was caving in around me. There's core people who are going to show up in that moment. And those people are your ride or dies. You guys all know who they are. I would think this is one of the gifts of failure and crisis is that you're actually going to know who really, really gives a damn. You're going to know the strongest people you roll with in that moment. Those are the people that can hold capacity for you as you go through hell. Those are the truest friends. Now, for the people that don't show up, that you were like, I thought you were my friend, there was a moment for me where I completely hated the folks that did not show up during a particular time in my life. I was like, you didn't show up for me. You're on my shit list. But as I gave that some space and relaxed and healed my own wound, I healed my own wound, right? Like I didn't think about them, I just healed myself. I realized that not everyone has the strength I have. And not all of my friends have the same amount of capacity. And that's okay. But still, in the moments of failure, you are going to know who the strongest friends are that you roll with, who they are, because they're going to show up right at your side. All right. So at the same time, have some perspective that your other friends who didn't show up, they're not necessarily evil people and they're not necessarily people you need to cut out of your life. Cut them some slack. As one of my former friends said, everyone's doing the best they can. And I think that's beautiful. You know what? They are. Most of the time, they are. All right. Number 5, what I've learned from failure, because failure is a teacher, is, and this I think is one of the most important, coolest facets of failure is a signpost. It's a road post. It's a sign telling you where you should no longer be headed, where you should no longer be heading. Failure is a sign of this might not be for you any longer. So stop and get going on something else. So failure is Don't do this anymore. This is not for you. Okay, good. And no becomes your yes. No, this isn't for you over here becomes go someplace else and do your magic, become you someplace in some other way. Isn't that awesome? I think too many times what we do is we feel failure is just a no. Failure is you suck and you'll never be good. You'll never amount to anything. And that's so dramatic. I understand. I do that so to like just like there's a moment, it's a little moment where I'll do that and I'm like, nope, that's not what failure is. A no is a yes for something else. A no means just not right now or just not here in this moment. And that is the universe protecting you. You weren't meant to room with that crowd. You weren't meant to be in that relationship. You weren't meant to be at that job. You weren't meant to be in that marriage any longer. You weren't meant to have those friends. If you continue to be in that marriage, that job, or that friendship, it would crush your soul and spirit. It was time to fly. Maybe the way it went down was messy, whatever. Who cares? Onward. You got kicked out of that moment so you get kicked in to the next portion of your life. There was a moment for me where I had a yoga teacher. She was my guru for like 7 years. I went away to get certified to teach. I came back to the studio. I was like, with my little certificate, I'm ready to teach now. She would not hire me. She like gave me a couple breadcrumbs to bring me on as a sub, but then I was like, I'm ready. Like, no, I'm really ready. I want to be here full time and I want to be on the roster. Like, put me on the schedule, put me in, coach. And meanwhile, she was hiring other teachers around me. It crushed me. I internalized that shit for about 10 years of my teaching career. Because what other information did I had than the person that I idolized that I put on the pedestal didn't want me. And so there must be something wrong with me. I was broken. That was a really hard lesson to learn. But I'm thankful. Again, I survived it. I built resiliency. I learned how to do better next time. That suffering, that failure of not being brought into the nest, so to speak, taught me a lot about myself. It took me a long time to get through that, but I'm on the other side of it. And I'm actually very thankful, right? I really learned that that wasn't where I needed to go because getting kicked out of the nest kicked me in and on to my path. I rented out places. I started teaching my own. I started developing my own style of teaching. I started developing my own voice and then eventually opened up Lotus Life Yoga Center, which was crazy successful for 5 years. If I stayed under her wing, I never would have been able to do that because she's got to non compete. So, but like, you know what I mean? Energetically, I wouldn't have done it and I would have been stunting my growth. I would have been holding my soul back from its natural evolution. So, when you get kicked out of things and when you fail, I hope now you see and you can feel in your body that this really isn't a failure. It's really a yes to something else. And it does hurt. And there's a lot of pain involved in failure. And all of the stinky, sweaty, messy, shameful feelings that we all get when it comes with failure. You're going to feel that, but it's good to feel it. Give yourself time to go through the failure, grieve it, go to the bottom of it. Trust yourself. Trust the moment the source is giving you. You're only ever given what you can handle. So go there. Go deeply into your sadness, go deeply into the wound, and of course, support yourself. Make sure you've got that mental health counseling. Make sure you got rock star friends. Make sure you got good sleep and diet and health and wellness routine and mind, body, soul routines to really help you pick yourself up. That's going to be really critical as you go through these failures, right? So, asterisks, before I go and fail too hard, let me make sure I'm actually taking care of my social group, my body, my mind, my soul, my spirit, so that it softens the blow a little bit. But above all, fail well, fail beautifully, fail, period, you guys. There's so much to learn. I hope this was extremely supportive and valuable for you guys today. Let me know in the comments below if this resonated. And I so appreciate you being here and watching the replay. And give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time.